So, the next match we'll be doing is going to be at Fire Waster's requests. We'll look at JDR versus Gas in 2022 Match Race Top 16. It was winners round 1, which means it was a first to 5 match. For a little bit of context, they finished number 8 and number 9 in group stage. So on paper, by seeding, this is supposed to be the closest match in the first round of top 16. They both had very similar results. We can take a peek here. JDR had a draw against Takashi. That's a pretty strong result. They drew against each other in group stage. They had already played. Yeah. And it seems, generally speaking, that JDR faced some tougher opposition and had some generally better results against them. So perhaps JDR slightly favored going into this, just based on results in group stage, but hard to tell. In JDR, famously a player who plays in the shadows throughout the year outside of CDM. Not someone we hear about much, aside from him posting very strong GP times on the GP website throughout the year.
It used to be TT times throughout the year.
It used to be TT.
He's getting more and more maxed.
Yeah, he's shifted to focusing on GP, which of course means we have no idea for Match Race what his level would be like. And Fire Waster, stuck in Brazil in the middle of nowhere, so practice is hard to come by in 2 players. I think he did quite a bit of net play in the last couple of years or so, but I don't know how much of that was Match Race. So
I have a feeling that like 50% of Guilherme's 2-player experience is just playing friendlies against Mario that one year that he was
very, very possible. Which does set you up for having a really nasty approach to item use.
Very true.
Match race in general. But I think both of these players are extremely strong drivers.
Yeah.
And as far as item use goes, I wouldn't really know. I think I'd kind of expect them both to be a bit lacking in the item department. At least, especially like in a confrontational 2P environment.
I think maybe in terms of execution, I think Guilherme, by watching as many SMK streams as he does also, I think he will have the right ideas. Also his analytical mind, clearly. He's called coach for a reason. But then it's still item execution is still a different beast than knowing what to do, per se.
He's saying that 100% of his MR matches were played in Europe. Fair enough. So yeah, I agree in terms of strategizing and using items like for shortcuts.
But even that experience counts, obviously.
It does.
Yeah.
But I also don't know how willing either player would be, for example, to sandbag or to really commit to nasty underhanded tactics. Let's say. All right.
That's a wild card. I don't know either. Yeah.
So with that said, let's take a look at the match.
So both of these narrowly dodged the barrage.
Well,
they had a
bit of a buffer, yeah. Okay. So it's the top 12 skip barrages, and these two finished number 8 and number 9 in group stage. Kicking off with BC2, will we get some zooms? A double zoom. Neither of them goes for a body block. And immediately, Gas, so playing as DK Jr. on the bottom, JDR, Bowser on the top. So immediately Gas picks up a feather. And I think feathers on BC2 are a really interesting item because you have multiple options for what to go for.
Yeah.
And especially if you pick it up on lap 1, there's a lot of mind games and meta tactics that can come into play.
I would even argue that it's not only per se a shortcut item, but you can even use it to dodge the killers.
Yes.
It's a free pass.
Yeah. So the 2 major options with the feather are first to go for the shortcut here to the left, which is sort of the one built into the game, or going for the finish line feather. I mean, the major advantage of the finish line feather is that it saves a ton of time.
Yeah.
Easily the most time value shortcut in the entire game.
In the entire game, exactly. Yeah.
So just in terms of raw time saved. But in Match Race, you have the killers at this turn, and this killer right here That one's the worst one.
In middle laps, especially.
In middle laps, because you have the thwomps coming down. So it's very reasonable to keep the feather. Oof. That's tough. Tough start. But it's very reasonable to use the feather on a middle lap to use the intended shortcut and just bypass the killer.
Yeah.
So
what do you think of JDR hanging onto the shroom?
I think it's a mistake. I think he should be trying to get a feather. I mean, I get trying to keep it in case of slowdown, but one of the killers is already gone. And
yeah, you can't get much mileage out of it.
So he's just deciding to go for driving here, but yeah, I'm not super convinced by it. So it seems like Guillermo here is very clearly keeping the feather for lap 5.
Yeah, and then it might be worthwhile to pick up a green or a banana to put pressure on the shortcut spot.
To try to block it, yeah. I suppose there is also an argument to be made that JDR can also be trying to just race, because he has a coin advantage here. He has 2 tiers of coin faster. But I don't think it's enough. Maybe with the shroom right at the end?
Potentially.
Because Fire Waster has not picked up any coins, and I think this is a mistake. He should have been trying, like, especially here. Yeah, the shroom was enough.
So all this time, his strategy was actually valid.
But the thing is, okay, I think JDR's strategy worked out when it shouldn't have.
Perhaps.
I don't think it was a correct decision to approach things in that way. I think a big part of why it worked out is because Gas did not pick up any coins for 4 laps, basically. And I do think that was a small mistake, but a real mistake on Gas's part.
Yes.
He should have been more cognizant of that, especially by deciding to keep the feather for lap 5.
Yep.
I think it became even more important for him to make sure he hit 10 coins as quickly as possible.
And if you are comfortable hitting the zipper,
you can also go for that.
Yeah. I'm personally really not comfortable with it, but if you are...
But even if you do it like 1 lap or something, it can be enough.
Exactly.
You
want to create that window to give yourself the actual chance to win the race with the feather.
Yeah.
So.
When I'm in this sort of scenario, in either position, my objective becomes driving as fast as possible.
Yes.
So that I can be on either side of the window as necessary. So like if I'm in JDR's position, I'm burning that shroom as fast as I can and just trying to push my driving as much as I reasonably can so that I can get out of the feather range.
Yeah.
And if I'm in Gas's position, I'm still just trying to push as much as I can to make sure I stay within the feather range and potentially even pressure my opponent if there's someone I think is going to be aware of this meta, to also try to pressure them into having to push their driving more and potentially make them crash. And yeah, coins are something that I think are very underappreciated by most players. They can make a really substantial impact. I've played plenty of races, like plenty of tracks, where the outcome has been decided on coins from earlier laps in the race.
Yeah. Definitely. I think going for as many as possible might not be the wise, because you also don't want to maneuver yourself in positions on the track where you're not comfortable driving all the time.
I think it's also very...
It's a mental bandwidth resource also that you're using. So
I think it's very situational, because if your opponent is already at or close to 10 coins, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But if your opponent is at like 2 coins, then it can be really worth it to go up even slightly more out of your way than you normally would.
To at 0 points, even more so, like if you're close.
So it's something that really depends on the scenario. There's no like absolute best approach. I think it's really like it's more about something about you have to be cognizant of the coin's potential impact on the race.
Yeah, and it's something that's probably indeed underestimated more so than overestimated. So yeah, it's a valid comment.
Okay, so next up is GV3, which I think is a very interesting match race track. Double zooming. Oh, I love that. I love this.
Yeah.
So here on GV3, player 2 has an advantage. Because, as Gas does right here, you can slam your opponent into the first turn if they're not ready for it.
Very French.
This is very French on Gas's part, and really, I think this is a fantastic move.
It's clearly on purpose too, because you wouldn't do that in time fight.
That is a line you don't do at all unless you're specifically trying to screw over your opponent in match race. It's great. I love it, and it works out beautifully because JDR is not ready for it at all and just dead stops. Huge props to Gas for this one. Big advantage, and he picks up a feather. So here, the feather here is another interesting one, because what do you do with this feather?
That's an excellent question. I think in this case I keep it.
Yeah. Keep it.
Yeah.
Just indefinitely.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that assessment, especially because it's PAL match race.
I would definitely not go for it if not pressured into it.
I think the worst decision is to try to go for it.
Yes,
unprompted. Especially if you were to go for it on lap 1, that'd be like the
unprompted.
Yes. I think there's an argument to be made for burning it, and there's an argument to be made for keeping it. And which one is a better choice really depends on you as a player and your opponent.
Yes.
And
the distancing.
So I think both can be valid, and I think it's something you have to constantly reevaluate for yourself when you have the feather in this position as you're going through the race. You have to constantly ask yourself, do I go for the feather? Do I burn it? So here, okay, no long boost for Gas. JDR goes for the long boost, which is going to put him...
And went out of his way to pick up coins.
Yeah, so he's at 10 coins. Gives him an advantage. Because, Gas also didn't go for the platform. So here...
Now you burn it.
Right? Yeah, this is a very weird play, I think, by both.
Yeah, by both, actually.
I don't get this. I mean, I think this is... Okay, I think this is advantaging Gas. Because...
Yeah, he's skipping on the second place item pickup. Ready for one lap.
Yeah, JDR is giving up second place items here. Because I think even if he wasn't going to use the feather, he should have just stolen it anyway. Because Gas is not going to approach the feather shortcut when his opponent has a ghost.
Which might be what he's banking on by keeping it, but I don't know.
That might be what he's thinking. That's the only thing I can think of
exactly.
for why he would keep it for this long. Yeah. I think what should have happened is if we go back to lap 2, he picks up the ghost, and I think waiting for a little bit to see if Gas burns it and makes a mistake and falls into the void or something is reasonable. But once you get to here and you see that Gas is not using the feather, you have to steal it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you're wasting the opportunity for more second place items.
Yeah. Also, props to Gas for not panic feathering.
Absolutely.
Which is very easy to do, actually, as a reaction to your opponent.
Especially on GB3 in the position he was in when JDR got the ghost. So this is really bizarre. It seems like JDR...
was trying to get ahead with the
JDR was trying to get ahead with the ghost.
Yes, that's the strat. Which is questionable, I guess. Against a driver as good as Gas?
But he saw that Gas wasn't going for the long boost. I think he lost too many resources in trying this approach for it to really be worth it.
But that's what he was going for, absolutely.
That sort of this third lap confirmed.
If you are ahead with the ghost, it's slam dunk. You basically almost always win, unless you really screw up yourself.
Yeah, and he confirmed, like he showed that this was his strategy by going for the long boost on lap 3.
Aggressively.
Very aggressively, missing it, and then immediately using the ghost.
Yeah. And it is indeed a lot like heads-up poker.
And then Gas immediately gets another feather. Okay. Well, you have to keep this as Gas.
Still has to go for the long boost, of course.
And he misses a zipper. Yeah. This is great.
Oh.
Onwa-san, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you for the raid. And here, Oh, yeah. Oh, that was so tight. Damn. Excuse me? Alright, well this is, whatever. It's fine. There's nothing to see
It's
here.
a little encore at the end.
Yeah. But I think the really interesting scenario here, nothing really happened with it, is that, so here, as,
that could have been really interesting actually, if he didn't fail the jump.
So, here as gas, you have to be...
I was going for that. Sorry. That's hilarious.
So here as gas, you have to be very aware that one of the only winning opportunities that JDR has, short of you making a mistake, is JDR picking up a ghost, stealing your feather, and doing the feather shortcut. So you have to be really ready to burn it, or to go for it if JDR picks up a feather himself.
Yes.
So you sort of, I think it's important to have decided what you're going to do with this feather before JDR picks up an item.
Actually, I have a very similar situation in my, I think it wasn't recorded, my match race top 16 against Takashi. I was in the similar kind of lead with a feather, and Takashi didn't have a feather yet. And I was making myself ready to react to whether he would pick up a feather or not, to go for the shortcut. He picked up a feather, I decided to go for it because I had 10 coins, and I landed it.
Yeah, nice.
This is exactly the situation.
Like, GB3 is typically...
Which is one of the best moments I had in match race day, because overall wasn't that great.
Sure. But yeah, it's
you gotta remember the positive sometimes too.
Yes, KVD. Alright, so here, what, heavy air quotes on should have happened is that Gas should have been prepared for JDR to get a ghost here, and should have burned it. Like he should have had a plan ready. Like even if that meant going wider around that U-turn, you should have been ready to burn the feather or to go for it. Like you could even start setting up. You can start charging a boost. Like right after here, you can start charging the boost as if you were going to go for it. And then when you see what item JDR gets, what your opponent gets, you adjust accordingly.
Yeah. I will say that this is mostly like game theory at the highest level, in the sense that this feather shortcut in Pal Match Race is not free.
No.
But still, it still impacts decision making, of course, because that's the...
So a lot of it comes down to, and this is a sort of idea that comes back a ton in decision making for match race especially, is if your opponent needs to land a shortcut to beat you on a specific track, how likely do you think they are to land that shortcut? And so everything I've been saying up until this point has been on the assumption that you believe your opponent is likely to make the shortcut.
For example, the mindset I have when I play against Neo is that he will land every shortcut he can. And it's same with you actually. A few players that have a really high success rate at these things.
And so that really affects what your decision making can and should be in a bunch of different scenarios. So you can, in some sense, toss everything I've been saying out the window if, for you in Gas's position, you think your opponent, JDR in this case, if you believe that JDR is unlikely to land that feather shortcut, even if he has a feather.
But do you have that information to make that assessment?
It's very tough.
In JDR's case, I guess not.
No.
Because, he plays in the shadow, so you don't know.
It's very tough.
You have to basically assume that he can do it, I think.
Yeah. Alright, so that was GV3. Very interesting GV3. I'd say so far, these two tracks have been very interesting. Okay.
Even the GV2 that we got in the other turned out to be interesting in the end.
Yes, Okay, MC2, double miss. Okay, so they've done double zoom, double miss. Okay, red. This is tough. So, very interesting play by Gas to wait with the red. And this is, this is a very good point. Gas had some intel on JDR.
It's interesting that he's in chat, because he can confirm or provide what we're saying.
Yes. So both the JDR and Gas had some intel on each other because they had played in group stage prior to this match, earlier in the day.
And this is actually, we cannot stress this enough, it's more important than, it's really important, and we're not exaggerating that, like the matchup and how strong you estimate your opponent to be really comes into play in the decision making.
Because in principle, if you're doing things right, let's say, your opponent and especially your perception of your opponent should have a significant influence on your decision making for a whole variety of reasons. So here, I think Gas has some good ideas for what to do in this scenario, but doesn't develop them fully. So in this position, I'm going to make it so you can see the items. JDR has a banana, and Gas is behind him with a red, which is a massively advantageous position. Calc, thank you for the subscription. Much appreciated. So Gas is in a hugely advantageous position here, especially on MC2, where there's a bunch of space to fire a red. So I think there are a few different options. The first is I want to hit my opponent with this red shell as soon as I can. And this is sort of what JDR banks on by immediately reacting and going wide. So that's very good defensive play on JDR's part. He also plays it in such a way that if his opponent doesn't fire the red, which is the case here, he maintains full speed and is still in a decent position to dodge and to continue driving. He doesn't fully commit to dodging the first beat red shell. He also drops the banana to try to catch Gas, under the assumption that Gas will be trying to find a spot to fire the red at him and won't be paying as much attention as defending against the banana. So this is really excellent play by JDR in the beginning of the interaction. And Gas is just being patient, which is perfectly fine.
It's the option I would have gone for with the red, actually. Yeah.
And here, I think Gas gets a little bit too confident in his positioning because he allows himself to get caught by JDR in the body block and gets dead stopped. Unfortunately, this is SMK.
No good move ever goes unpunished.
Yes. So for all the really good strategizing that JDR did, for all the very good execution he had, for all the outplaying and mind games and in-game that JDR might have done, it all came to a crash because he just ran into a killer. So here, Gas just makes sure he doesn't.
I would really say that's an unforced error. Forced error, sorry.
Yeah. JDR hitting the other one.
Because the ricochet with Gas really threw him in the killer trajectory.
It's very, very tough to adjust for that. So here, Gas holding on to the red is great. JDR going for a long boost to try to, he has to just try to do everything he can.
Unless there is, the famous yellow item.
So here, I think perhaps something that's sort of interesting to note is that for Gas, there's sort of like a specific spacing that is ideal for him to maintain in this position, because he never wants to get in range of JDR's red shell,
backwards red,
but he also doesn't want to get in range of his backwards red.
Yes.
So he doesn't want to get too close.
Yep, exactly.
And we'll see if that continues playing out. And he can also just keep the red for backward red.
He's actually in the perfect spot right now.
He's in the perfect spot. I don't like tossing the red there.
No.
It was too ambitious. And that also led him to making a driving mistake because he was focused on doing the backwards red. Okay, that's a completely unforced error by JDR.
Gift contra gift.
Yeah.
Like if JDR had not hit the banana there and set up a long boost, he would have been in red shell range.
Yeah, that was very dangerous for Gas. He got a bit of a lucky break that JDR committed an unforced error there. Okay, this mushroom might get JDR in range for something interesting, but I think it's a bit too much. No, he goes for long. No, so okay. So this is 2-1 for Gas. Now even a bolt I think wouldn't have been.
And top 16 is first to
5.
First to 5. So every point really counts in the first to 5. So.
All right, VL2.
I'm pausing. This is the worst track in all of competitive SMK, I think.
I think so too.
Okay,
we
agree.
The devs just decided to add the bananas, and the bananas make everything awful. Okay, this is also the track where missing a zoom matters the least, I believe.
Picks up a feather.
Feather's a great item.
Different.
Here, what's he gonna? Yeah, okay, just takes out the banana. That's very standard, perfectly fine. Okay, banana. Are you gonna trap it? Yep.
Yes.
But it's a bit of a risky move when you're in the lead because your opponent is more likely to pick up something. I'm not sure I like that decision, by the way.
No, neither do I. So if your opponent picks up an item that negates the banana, you can trap yourself the next lap.
Yeah, and Gas has sufficient of a lead here that he doesn't really need to try to make his opponent lose more time. So it may have been better. Yeah, so as Mole comes in, hello Mole. So if you're in that much of a winning position, typically you want to leave yourself a path and not hinder.
It's such a natural position to drop the item, though. I get the temptation. I've done it myself in the past. I've also been punished.
Yes.
By this
I think
mistake.
More often than not, it's going to be a bad idea, let's say.
Well, let's see how it plays out this time. And it could also be that, like you say, okay, Guillermo has a sufficient lead, but he might not trust his VL2 driving abilities.
That's also possible. So he gets another nanner, he's going to hit it. And since it's a star rammed, This is typically what will happen in these scenarios.
Star is also really powerful in VL2.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah. And JDR dropped the banana there, which I think was a mistake. Yeah, so gas goes nice.
Yeah.
I don't like the burning of the ghost there. He did it a bit too early because JDR could have picked up an item right after he activated the ghost. Well, lap 5 doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like the passage. Yeah. All right, 2-2. So I think that VL2 was decided on Gas choosing to drop the banana when he was
and
in
then
the lead.
JDR getting the feather, kind of.
Yeah.
Like it also played into how that the decision was punished.
This is not a barrage match. It's a mistake in the overlay from the stream. This is a winners round 1 match.
First to 5.
Upper round 1. Yeah. So it's first to 5.
Also, good morning, Mole.
All right, DP2. Double miss, okay. Double burnout even. Banana versus shroom. Okay. I like the little interplay there. JDR threatened with the banana, but Gas, accepted a bit of speed loss to make sure he'd avoid it. Big mistake from Gas. Huge mistake. He's trying to drive aggressively and go for the shroom long boost, which was the correct call in terms of strategy, because it allows him to get another second place pickup, assuming JDR doesn't go for any sandbagging. But I think it would have been a mistake for JDR to go for sandbagging when his opponent has a shroom.
He didn't need aggressive driving before the long boost.
No, I think it was just a driving mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Lost some control.
That's another thing.
Due to stuff.
So, I think typically, if you're really prepared, you also know exactly where to activate stars, which is it's big because if the star runs out.
Yeah.
In an
a track like
spot,
DP2 is a good example.
It can really ruin your race.
Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of over. It's really on JDR to make a mistake for this track at this point.
But then, we can cut Gas some slack as an NTSC native. The star length.
I don't like this room. I think that's a very poor decision.
The star length between NTSC and PAL is also different. So it's it's a rabbit hole.
Generally speaking, I don't like that shroom that Gas went for, even if it's executed cleanly.
Neither do I.
Because it doesn't save much time.
I pretty much never use it.
Yeah. I think it's a lot better to go for the long boost that Gas did with his first room. Alright, 3-2 for JDR. From one donut plains to another. Zooms, please. Okay.
I think for me it's best to just not comment on Zoom start misses.
Okay. I'd consider using a shroom there because Gas lost speed again. But he's going to go for the long boost here.
Nice. Yeah. And picks up the second item.
Yeah.
Very good. Don't like the ending.
No, because he killed the long boost at a really awkward spot. Gas seems to be fairly uncomfortable when he's at a disadvantage and needs to try to push his driving back to get in range. This happened a couple times so far.
I'm not sure if it's being uncomfortable or just being too primed to drive very aggressively.
Perhaps, yeah.
Knowing his mindset a little bit.
Yeah, that could also be the case. Missed the wall. Yeah, but it's understandable because there he was trying to go for a very aggressive long boost.
Yes, he had to.
Which is sort of what he had to do that in that position. And even then, it was unlikely to be enough.
I think he needed like a red shell pickup on the long boost and then just try that shot that you did against Mario.
Yeah.
But that's very unlikely. Yeah.
He's very low odds of having any chance there. Okay, so it's 3 match points for JDR. And it's the first 2-point lead in the entire match.
And MC4 is potentially decided on Zoom Start.
Yeah, so Gas really needs the Zoom Start to stay in the match. Oh, okay, well, at least JDR also missed it. A double burnout. JDR with a slightly more efficient return to speed. Okay.
What?
There's just small unforced error on JDR's part.
Oh yeah.
Too aggressive with the boost.
That boost I really don't like in 2P.
No, neither do I.
Unless I really have to chase like a demon, it's not worth it.
So here, Gas's strategies, or what his strategy should be, is very clear. Just drive as fast as you can and keep the mushroom for safety.
Yeah. And maybe allow yourself a little space to anticipate the killers.
Especially now, yeah. Yeah, as JDR was sort of... yeah, that's where you need some space. But JDR obviously was trying to push his driving as well.
Yeah.
And then just bad positioning on the killer.
Oh yeah, the killer between the 4 pipes is very damaging if he's in the wrong spot.
Yeah. So JDR picked up a ghost there, and I understand Gas not using the shroom because he happened to be in the hairpin just as JDR picked up the ghost. Was
yeah.
Not much to do there in that interaction. JDR immediately activates the star, which I think is not a great move. Because that is not an ideal spot to be activating the star on MC4.
And he was just basically panicking
or
like, okay, trying to attack as much as possible. But it was really a lost match that he was playing, or lost round, rather.
Okay, so
1 match point averted.
Yeah, Gas saves 1 match point. 2 to go.
And decisive moment, killer.
And the yeah. Well, JDR made a couple unforced errors in that one. Okay, MC3. This was foreshadowed as being crazy by Gas himself.
That's a perfect start with a shroom.
Yep, with the shroom in the lead.
The same dynamics, keep the shroom for safety.
Yep, with a slightly better position because he got the zoom. Oh, but 2 missed boosts. Yeah, I like the shroom use.
Yeah.
Is that infinite boost for... No, that's not infinite. Okay, star. This is my star activation. Oh, okay, just barely got the touch. Oh, that's rough.
That was very
that's
difficult.
Rough. Getting around that hairpin with the stars is really
especially
tough.
after there's such a collision also. Like it altered the trajectory a little bit.
Yeah. I like Gas not going for the boost there after the hairpin. Because he had some really awkward speed. Okay, whoa, star. Rolls are reversed.
This is indeed a very interesting MT3 already.
Okay, activating there. I think I would have activated after the hairpin and try to catch. Because here, yeah. Okay. Notice the coin discrepancy. It's 2 tiers of coins. Oh, I like the infinite boost. Oh, great. Oh, the dodge.
Whoa, what a race.
And it's going to come back? No. Ah, dang. Okay, I think this was a small mistake on Gas's part.
That was sensational.
I think this red here I don't think it's the correct decision
To fire it?
No. As he did, because he still had infinite boost speed, which is what allowed JDR to dodge. Because I don't think JDR didn't even actively dodge.
No.
It's Gas was going so fast, and that just because his angle was slightly off on the direct trajectory for the red, that the red end up circling around, and I think it hits the wall as it's trying to loop back.
I think what happened is he basically just got caught in the rush of the chase.
Yes.
He just wanted to capitalize as soon as he was back in range.
Absolutely, and that's something that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But there it's like, JDR has a banana, so all you have to do is be aware of the banana, and even if you slow down and hit some dirt or something, you have space in both the straight before the hairpin and after the hairpin to get the red shot in.
He's gonna get hit. Yeah. Where is it?
And yeah, the body block, I don't think that was intentional on their part.
They were just trying to survive,
Yeah.
I think.
I was very close to the killer. Oh, the green. Oh god, Gas super nervous, couldn't set up for the probably over. No, it should be done. Even with the killer hit. Nah, it's over. Alright, yeah.
That was a great MC3.
That was a very entertaining MC3. 5-3, so JDR wins.
Yeah.
Alright.
It was a good match.
It was a good match.
Yeah.
GG to JDR.